Today we are going to see how to file ITR return online. Firstly, you have to visit this website incometaxindia.efiling.gov.in. If you are filing an ITR return for the first time in your life, firstly you have to get registered in this website by clicking on register yourself because you are new to e-filing. In that, select the type as individual, enter your PAN name and other details and press continue. Next you have to register and also do a verification process. Once the registration is successful, you will be having your user ID and password. Your user ID is nothing but the PAN number. Once you are successfully registered, click on login here for registered users. Enter your user ID, which is nothing but the PAN number, followed by password. Also, you have to enter the CAPTCHA code here. Once you enter everything correctly, press the login button. Once you log in successfully, you will be presented with this screen. This is the dashboard. Here, in order to file your ITR return, you have to select filing of income tax returns. Always remember that assessment year is 1 year incremented with respect to the current financial year. For example, in 2020, April or May or June, you would be filing the income tax return for the previous year, that is 2019 to 20. 2019 April 1st till 2020 March 31st. That is called the financial year. But you should select the assessment year as 2020-21. Assessment year is always 1 incremented with respect to the financial year. In 2020, you would be filing ITR return for the previous year, that is the financial year 2019-20, but that is called as the assessment year 2020-21. Our team will make a separate video on which ITR to choose. For all the salaried employees, they have to choose ITR 1. So this is the exhaustive list stating who cannot file ITR 1 Sahaj form. Sahaj means simple. It is very simple. An individual whose income is above 50 lakh or who has taxable short-term capital gains or long-term capital gains, maybe by selling of assets, shares, mutual funds, whose agricultural income exceeds 5,000, who holds more than one house property, who is having a business as a profession, those individuals are not eligible for ITR 1. Most of the salaried employees whose salaried income is less than 50 lakh and who are not a director of any company fall under ITR 1 category. So in this video, we will limit ourselves to filling a ITR form 1. The filing type, you have to select original bar revised return. Submission mode, there are 2 modes. One is prepare and submit online. Another is you can prepare in the offline mode and then upload that XML. So prepare and submit online is the most preferable method and most easiest and efficient way. Select the account for refund credit. In case you are eligible for any tax refund, that tax amount, refund amount will be deposited in this bank account number that you provide here. You need to check this checkbox. Press continue. Agree to the terms and conditions and select continue. There are multiple tabs here. We will go through each and every tab now. In the general information tab, you have to fill your basic details and later you have to select the type of employment, central government or state government. If you are working in banks or PSUs, then you have to select public sector undertaking. Or if you are a retired employee and you are receiving pension, then you have to select pensioners. If you are a private sector employee, then you have to select others. And the next column is field filed under section 139 of 1 means you are filing the ITR return on or before the due date. 139 of 4 means belated, means you are filing the previous year's 1 year late. 139 of 5 means you are filing the revised return. You may have made some mistakes and you are rectifying that. So by default, if you are filing in time, you have to select 139 of 1. So this is another important selection that you have to make. Are you filing ITR under 7th provision to section 139 of 1? What does this mean? Say your income is less than 2.5 lakh and you need not pay any tax, or say your income is even less than 5 lakhs, and even in that case you need not pay any tax, because whatever 12,500 that is gets deducted, it is completely refunded for you under rebate clause. But still you have to pay the ITR even though you need not pay any tax. Say assume your income is only 1 lakh, so you need not pay any tax, but also still you are recommended to file the ITR. So if you are filing the ITR even though you need not pay any tax, you are still filing the ITR because your income is less, but still you are filing the ITR because as per the 7th provision to section 139 of 1, then you have to select yes. If your income is greater than 2.5 lakhs or greater than 5 lakhs, in which case you have to pay the tax as well. Of course, you can use some deductions and reduce the tax. In all other cases, you have to select no. Now we have to go to the next tab, computation of income tax. In this tab, you have to enter your salary as per section 17 of 1. So this field, value of perquisites as per section 17 of 2, profits in lieu of salary as per section 17 of 3, all these 3 fields have to be filled by seeing your form 16 part B given to you by your employer. As a matter of fact, you can read this statement once again. For individuals having total income up to 50 lakh, having income from salaries, one house property only, other sources, say for example income from fixed deposits, and agriculture income up to 5,000 per year only are eligible to file this ITR 1. Remaining people should file other ITRs, maybe 2, 3, 4, up to 7. Next you have to add the exemptions under section 10. So these are the various exemptions offered by different companies or the government itself. For example, if you have done any leave travel allowance or leave travel concession, you can avail if your company is providing. For example, you have encashed any of the leave up to 3 lakhs, that amount is also exempted under section 10 of 10AA. Do note that this exemption is given only at the time of retirement. So if your employer is giving you any non-monetary benefits, so that comes under 10CC. Irrespective of that, there are other allowances such as HRA that comes under section 10 of 13A. You have to select that. As per your form 16, you should enter this amount. Do not enter some random amount. This amount should match with the amount mentioned in form 16 given by your employer. Next, click add. Say if you have any other allowances, say for example your company offered some anniversary gifts or some medals or gold coins, or some of the companies required uniform, so some attire maintenance allowance or washing allowance, you can write the description and enter the amount here, which should be completely matched with that mentioned in your form 16 part B given by your employer. If you are having any house, then you have to fill this B2 section. Otherwise, you can skip this. So if you are letting out that house to rent, then you have to select let out. If you are staying in that house, you can select self-occupied. So once it is self-occupied, then you will not receive any rent. See, it will become disabled. But if you are selecting let out, then gross rent received during the year, you have to enter the rent received, tax paid to local authorities, interest payable on borrowed capital, arrears bar rent realized during the year less 30%. These things will, the sixth one will be auto calculated, fourth one will be auto calculated, third one will be auto calculated. Interest payable on borrowed capital you have to enter. That is on your housing loan, how much interest you are paying, that you have to enter here. So the total loss which you get, say if the loan amount you pay is greater than the rent you receive in case of let out, or in case of self-occupied complete loan amount, if it is greater than 2 lakhs, minus 2 lakhs, then you have to fill ITR 2. This is a cautionary note. Next, you have to enter interests from deposits. Say there are any bank FDs, those interests have to be added here. But generally these are auto-filled. If these are not auto-filled, you have to cross-check from the form 26AS and fill it out here. If you have any other types of income, say from savings account, interest from savings account, in your savings bank account you might have some balance, and that balance will earn some interest. That interest you have to enter manually. Next, you have to enter the deductions here. If you have taken any life insurance policies or provident fund, PPF, VPF, debentures, tax saving mutual funds, those all will come under section 80C only. If you are investing in any NSCs, post office NSCs, tax shield FDs, everything comes under 80C. If you are having NPS, National Pension Scheme, that can be entered either in 80C or above that 1.5 limit of 80C. You can also enter in 80 CCD of 1B up to a maximum of 50,000. So if I enter here 1,50,000, as you can see here, I am getting now total a benefit of 2 lakhs, which is over and above the limit of 1.5 lakhs capped under 80C section. So generally 80D is for the health insurance. Life insurance and health insurance are two different aspects. Life insurance is when the person passes away, it's the nominee gets the amount. Health insurance is whenever you are feeling ill or if you fall sick and you are joining as an inpatient in any hospital, then that amount will be borne by the health insurance company. So here you have to select, you should go to Schedule D. All you need to do is you just need to select this hyperlink so that this 80D tab will automatically gets opened. Here you have to enter yes or no things. For example, whether any of your family member excluding parents is a senior citizen. Senior citizen means age should be greater than 60 years. Say once you select no, you have to enter the health insurance premium including GST. Including GST, remember the term. Say I am entering 25,000. And if your parents are a senior citizens and they are dependent on you, then only you have to select yes. Otherwise you have to select no. If you select yes, it means that your parents are a senior citizen and they are dependent on you. Select no if they are not dependent on you. Next, you have to enter the other amounts. For example, 80DD for dependents with disability, 80DDB for treatment of specified disease like Parkinson's disease. This list you can see in search for in the internet. 80E, interest on loan taken for higher education, that is also exempt. So as you can see, these all are self-explanatory. You can just go through them. For example, 80EEB, if you have purchased any electric vehicle, yes, that loan interest amount also you can enter here for exemption purposes. Likewise, you can enter all these details and finally go to the next tab by clicking this right arrow. This shows the details of taxes collected from you already. This is the taxes paid and verification is the important tab, wherein it shows the total amount of tax still you have to pay. For example, in this case, there is a refund amount of 21,690 and that will be refunded to the bank account mentioned in part E. Once you fill all these details, you can save this and select the preview and submit. So if there are any errors, you will be getting errors like this. You have to solve them. For example, you have to enter the place here, you have to select self here. Once you solve them, you can submit and you have to select one of the verification options. If your mobile number is linked to your Aadhaar, you can select e-verify using pre-validated bank account or digital signature certificate or using Aadhaar. E-verify means using online verification method using Aadhaar based OTP. I would like to e-verify later within 120 days means currently I don't have time. Within the next 4 months I will verify. I don't want to verify online. I want to send through post, through courier within 4 months, through offline process. Then you have to select option C. If you select option A, it will ask you for the Aadhaar based OTP verification process and you are done with the process. If you want to know whether e-verification is pending for you, select e-verify return data of previous years. You should get no returns pending for e-verification. It means that your e-verification is complete. Also, you can go to the view returns bar forms, select the income tax returns option and check the status. For example, here the status is shown for last year. Once you file the current year, one more row will come at the top showing the status. So ITR processed is the fully completed stage. Say if your e-verification is pending, the status will be e-verification pending. If e-verification is complete, the status will be e-verification is successful. So if ITR is processed also, after you e-verify, the income tax team verifies your return and the status will be changed to ITR processed. Once the status is ITR processed, it means that you are done. Thank you.